Happy lunchtime, my brothers and sisters. Get you on a good camera angle. Hey, look, I'm growing mint. It's not an excuse anymore. It's a reality. It's mint, honestly, it's mint. But this is actually mint. Quite often in life before, it hasn't been mint. When I said it was mint. Oh, I'm sure we've all been there, maybe. Okay. So, interesting day today. I haven't made any prep or anything because I know exactly like how many masses of people will be on my stream, like literally 2. Precious 2 though. So, but you know, I'm not doing this for any other reason, but I love it. So let's get the guitar out and start straight away. So my perfect guitar day always starts with a nylon string, a classical. It's the best way to warm up the hands, the fingers. You know, the guitar does you no favors. They're very brutal. And I've been working on a thing. It's nothing special. Again, I told you a little bit last week about my quest for writing in conventional chords. Alright, so that's that. Hey! So I've been doing some recording. Hey, check out my new wall like hanger. I've got like 3 functional guitars right behind the chair on the wall. All I've got to do, I sit here and I don't even look. I just go. But yeah, the Strat, which is you know, the main studio guitar really, or well, you know, it's the most versatile guitar I own, and sometimes the best sounding. Yeah, if I've got the right gear, you know, if I'm setting up right, it's possibly the best all-round sounding. And I love all the artifacts, you know, you get with a Strat. Something you get with a Strat. Really, a tremolo Strat is you have all this rinky-dink, like Keith Robertson stuff on a Stratocaster. You have these string trees. It's like there's a lot of solutions on a Strat for problems that Leo Fender come across as he went along. One of them was the headstock doesn't tilt back like on a traditional, you know, built guitar. It does this thing where it's a single piece of wood mostly, and or apart from like a little slither, and it steps down, so the strings have quite an angle. So what he does is he puts these string trees here, to pull the strings down so they don't pop off the nut, and they're rinky dink. You've got like everything's made out of bent bits of tin, but you've got this tremolo and it has these springs that you can't, not visible, so I've got to cover, but they got like springs and whatnot, and so you get all this sort of sonic artifacting, and it's like There's always with the Strat, there's a lot of extra noise. Now, generally, that's not a great thing. That's not a favourable thing in the studio. Isn't it great just hanging up there like that? That's not a favourable thing. But when you're looking for sounds with character and whatnot, it's a great thing. So sonic artifacts, you know, all the little rinky-dinks from the street. It sort of sounds sometimes like there's a reverb on the actual guitar. It's because of the springs. Anyway, yep, I've gone right through the tellies and the stage pair. The stage pair is as glorious as ever. This is the stage second. This is the guitar that gets picked up when I snap a string. It's this beautiful Gunsmoke blue. I've added a few bits, but I've kept the electronics pretty much standard, pretty much stock, because the other one has had a lot of work done to it. That colour looks really nice, actually. It's had a lot of work done to it, and I want to always know what it sounded like before I did the work to it. But yeah, it's only cosmetic, really. The work was done on these rinky-dink bits. You know, this is what the other guitar looks like under a UV light, actually. And this is the other, and this has had a ton of work done to it. So this is the A, and this is Hot Rod Eternal custom setup, and oh, it's a great guitar. And they're both now set up. Well, they're both pretty much ready to roll. I could do a gig at a drop of a hat. I think, look, before I'd seen you last week, I've done all of the work on this, and we talked about the interesting pickup. I've been playing it a lot. It's a great guitar. I recorded with the Black Telecaster. This is basically the guitar that I use if I'm doing anything clean. Like, this is the guitar to use. These like fake EMGs that Axel by EMG. Like, they're really good, like low output pickups. So they have a wonderful clean sound. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I think. What was it? You know, you got any questions? Nice cup of Earl Grey. Oh, I'm being interviewed by the BBC next week, apparently. Maybe it's possible. We go down to the church once a week, and we get like they do this thing called the pantry, I think. And you like give them a few quid, and you get like these big like bags of shopping, and they're great. They're great. It's where this like fair trade organic Earl Grey tea comes from, for instance, which, you know, can't complain with that. But yeah, if I've been really trying to keep to this like schedule of like 12 o'clock, like noon, live streaming, just because like that's when I did the first live stream, and I'm trying to maintain a routine. But I'm wondering if it's not like the best time to do it. So if you've got a suggestion, like a better time to do it, say so. I'll take it and put. But why wouldn't I? I've got like about 5 punters at this stage. All right. Do you want to hear some recording? Do you want to hear? I think last week I showed you the thing where I had the classical guitar intro, and it was like real guitars on one side of the speaker and keyboards on the other. Fortunately, you can't hear any of that at this stage because I'm going into like a mono speaker system at this stage because I'm using a crappy amp for a monitor. So it's a little It's essentially like a portable PA. Like it's a tiny little thing. I used to use busking, and I used it like 3 times, and then decided this isn't a good idea. I'm better off jammed down an alleyway with no amp. But it is a very handy thing to own. Portable. It's got got a mic channel, it's got an instrument channel, and a line in, and we're coming in the line in, and it's coming out of one speaker, so you're not hearing it in stereo. But that's kind of, some people are going to be hearing it through terrible systems like this, where it's just like a thing with a CD player and a speaker. Well, you're not getting it in stereo then, are you? Those Bluetooth speakers everybody likes, yeah, right? That's just a lump of sound in the middle of the room. You want a proper stereo window. Like, well, I'll show you when I get a thing I've used to get monitor speakers again. I'm annoyed my monitor speakers got lost in the chaos, but never mind. Okay, so utility, select song list loading, and we want Epsilon Groove. Enter. Now this is very basic. This is in the early stages, and it's just drums and guitar at the moment. But I'm pleased with this. Let's have a go, shall we? Henry, get off the channel. Join me. I'm gonna fade it out. Alright, so there's a preview of that. That's called Epsilon Groove. There is a bit more to it, but you've heard enough. It's a fairly big track. I'm completely influenced by the very specifically by the late 80s thrash scene. Like those the albums between 1987, 86, 87 to 1989, 90. Like that little period of time. Oh, I love the music from that period. Like they had a taste, they had a real penchant for the complex. It's like, I think there were accusations that like thrash musicians, they felt kind of self-conscious. This is a generalization, but like they felt kind of self-conscious that they weren't real musicians. They were just sort of like meh, 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 meh. And like this is way before like Slipknot, way before Marilyn Manson, way before, I mean, like all you had really is Chuck Schuldiner was the only guy doing that sort of that sort of epiglottis vocals, like there was really only Chuck Schuldiner. He was like the beginning of that with the band Death, the beginning of death metal. And like he was around then. Like he was around and like he was getting airplay. Like both John Peel and Tommy Vance on the Friday Night Rock Show would both play on Radio 1 like songs from the band Death. That's how I came across them as a wee lad, as a wee schoolboy. But like, I think there was very much the feeling, you had these really good guitar players. I mean, Kirk Hammett is from the school of Joe Satriani. We had these really qualified, like, you know, look at, I mean, all the founding fathers of thrash. You look at the guitar players. You got Jeff Hanneman, you got Dave Mustaine, who had a great reputation. And these guys were like American muscle cars. They were just overbuilt, and they did it loud and fast. They were loud and fast. But then you had your Kirk Hammett, and you had your Gary Holt, extremely qualified players, you know, like overqualified, and they're playing this thrash music. And I think there was, like I said, very much this self-conscious awareness that, oh, they're just loud and fast, you know. Are they good? And so there was this incredible effort to make these complex songs to sort of prove to the world, yeah, we're good, we can make fucking real music. And so you start to get these like little flourishes of acousticness, these flourishes of clean guitar, intros and middle eights, and all sorts of interesting stuff. Real crazy compositions. I guess Metallica's Justice for All is like the epitome of that approach. But you know, you had bands like Overkill and Testament and Exodus and Anthrax even. It could be very complex. Anthrax's album from that period is like a concept, State of Mind, Euphoria, and it's like a concept album. And it's really like, some of the riffing in that is so complex. You know, they're real chromatic dudes. It's like jazz. You know, it's like super heavy acid jazz or something. But that is the period of time. And I guess it's because, you know, I was at that very formative period of time. I was between 12 and 16. I was 16 in 1990. You know, so it's like I was at a very formative age, you know, where kids get really into music. If they get into music, they get really into it. And it's part of their identity and who they are. And I think that stuck with me. And it's sort of like, as I've had my midlife crisis, you know, the time where, you know, like balding men buy their Ferraris. Well, I'm neither bold nor rich enough to get a Ferrari, although I grew up in one. It's like, you know, I've kind of revisited that era, I think. And it's like, and so, you know, my main guitars are sort of like thrash guitars. They are like the guitar version of Tom Araya from Slayer's bass. You know, I've got Telecasters and stuff, but like what I use on stage is these, like, you know, LTD F types, and they're a very spiky guitar. But yeah, like, and that influence is starting to come out. That's quite more of a basic tune. That's like, it is a groove. It's an attempt at a groove. I'm putting a big guitar solo on it. I tried last week and it just didn't come off too well. I think I was just too tired. But yeah, there's a couple of tracks like that are in that shape of, you know, very much. But I'll show you another thing as well, quick. Utility, select, song select. Okay. This one is Manifold Brood. There's a live version on YouTube with the mighty Richard on drums, and it's like he never even heard the track. That wasn't rehearsed. There's a thing, and it's just that, like, we just did it. It wasn't rehearsed. I just put the camera up and did it, and I'm really proud of how it turned out, actually. Yeah, Manifold Brood is a bit different. This is more of a grinder. I'll just give you a little bit. only going to give you a hint of that, but I haven't heard that for a little while. I haven't got into it. Yeah. So it is kind of heavy. This long player that I'm putting together. You know, and I'm really struggling because it's like I have got like a damn good CD's worth of like that sort of stuff, and a damn good CD's worth of the unplugged stuff. And it's, do I mush it all together, or do I like do it on two separate things? Because it's like I use the same name for both. It's like for a band, for just me on with an acoustic doing the singer-songwriting gig. You know, I'm Blacktooth Fox, and as a band, you know, like a proper 3 or 4 piece, like it's Blacktooth Fox. That's the name of the band. Also, it works. You know, so how do I do this? You know, it's, you know, at the moment I'm just getting it down. It's like, especially since the heart scares. It's like, you know, I feel the need to like chisel my little mark into the stone. You know. But that's, you know, I am going to have to worry about formatting and how I'm going to do it. But, you know, I know it's not all that, but I feel good about it. You know, it's like, I feel good about it. If I can just present the music that I've written, if I can just present it, you know, well enough on the tape, I'll be all right. Like it will take care of itself, you know, and it will go as far as it deserves to go. You know, music, it's like a funny game. It really does go as kind of far as it deserves to go. Now, I know that kind of cuts against the grain of like, of, you know, like, of you know, it's accepted music, because it's like the most popular music isn't necessarily the best, but you know, like good music always finds a home. Like it gets the audience it gets, which generally like look after it and put it where it needs to be. The big problem is when you get someone in the middle of that relationship between the artist making the music and the audience that consumes it. There's a slight agency in the middle, and it's like a black hole, and all the money that in that exchange goes down that plug hole. Both ways, like the management of the band will persuade the band to spend sort of like money that it shouldn't, doing unwise things, like making unwise decisions that cost a lot of money, which benefits some third party. And then the money coming from the audience to the band, you know, gets siphoned off by all of these production costs. There are very few people, like I think Ed Wynn has done it right. Like he was well ahead of the game. Like it is, I have not mourned the death of the music industry, because I'll put it straight, it's been a cunt to the musician. It has been no friend of the musician, and yet still, you know, good musicians yearn to be part of that, to be to get a record deal with a major company and all that. You don't want it. You don't want it. Like not if you want a good life. Anyway, like you can make a living without them, a better living in the final solution. Okay, like, you know, it's. What's the use of you know, paying that little springboard to get airplay, right? Which is the oldest trick in the world. You know, for $6,000 you can get airplay, okay? Like on like the major stations. And it's like, yeah, I should think so, you know? Because there's the twin relationship of their like, as much as like we are kind of desperate to make a living, you know, like pubs and venues, all the way up to like major radio station stuff, are kind of desperate to have good product to like bring people in, you know, to have listeners, to have like punters. But what's the use of all of that if you're there was a band and I kind of liked them, and they were called the Super Furry Animals. Do you remember them? On record, they're really good. On stage, they are appalling. You know, there's a band that had a little bit, but they had push. They had an almighty push compared to the dues that they'd paid, like on the club circuits, etc. They had an almighty push behind. And but then what's the use of that? What's the use of it? Because I'm only going to spend like a tenner on an album once, okay? Like radios don't cost nothing to listen to unless it's Sirius XM. You're paying for satellite radio, you're buying a subscription, that's different. But what's the use of that? Pay you 10 quid once. And then, okay, I'm going to see these live as soon as I can, and go, and they're shit. Okay, you've paid your fucking 65 quid in that case. It's like, and they're shit, and you never see them again, and you don't buy any more albums. So what's the point of pushing them all that hard? What was the point of spending, hundreds of thousands of pounds on promoting these acts to get them in front of everybody for them to be shit? Like, isn't it better to like go into a fucking pub that's got 4 fucking people in it and have every single one of those 4 people that have completely different tastes? They had no idea what was coming, okay? And have them all saying that was fucking brilliant. And they'd tell their friends that, if anyone asks, they say, oh, that's fucking brilliant. That's what I'm saying. Like, isn't that better? And if you're going to be in front of 40,000, like, you need to be able to entertain 4. You need to have done 4 and then, 24, 40, 140, 400, 1,400, 4,000, yeah, go up, then you completely, but fuck me, it's like, what's the point? You see, like, there's a lot of bands out there that appear to be successful, but in the final analysis, if you put like the pros and the cons next to each other, like any like businessman would, they're not successful. And there are bands that appear to be not doing that great, but they're out burning, or they were until the pandemic. They're out, wearing their tires flat, playing all the fucking toilets of England, Belgium, France, Germany, Turkey, like Sweden, fucking Russia. They're out there doing it, playing these fucking shitty farmyards, and toilet cubicles. They're doing gigs in the shittest bloke. Do you know what? They're fucking buying their own house. They've bought their own fucking car for their missus. Cash. They didn't, like, they're fucking successful. They're doing fine. They're doing great. And they're doing, if they're really cut out for this, they're doing what they love. And they don't care about the fucking money. They just love that they're doing what they love. And the feeling of doing what you love is the same whether you're in a room like this on your own, watched by, a half a dozen fucking people, or whether you're, sat there on the back of your tour bus going to fucking Texas, ready to play an arena. The love is the same. And the rewards that come from the love of what you do are the same too. Yeah, so it's like, well, anyway, there's a bit of what I've recorded, and I'm plotting as to all the best ways to promote this when I do it without spending any money, because I'm going to document what I do as I do it, because I've got ideas, which I've had, like some of these ideas, when I put them into practice, might not work because they're 20 years out of date, because I've been sat on the sidelines for so fucking long. Like, if I actually do make an effort, I should have no excuse, because I've had, like 31 years to take it all in and study the details. So it's like, I've got no excuse for failure, and that's it. Apart from, like, I've got a tremendously ugly mouth, like that makes a difference. But you know what? That's why I'm called Blacktooth Fox. So it should be no surprise when you get up stage and you see this great gaping hole for a face singing these songs. And on that note, I'm going to leave it. I don't know what the quality of the little sneak through is going to be like. Usually it's really shit. When you're streaming, it's got a bad thing of like movement on the screen. The amount of pixels on the screen affects the audio, and that's a real fucker. It was really bad last week. It's probably going to be really bad this week. But you really need to hear it in stereo. I really need to give it to you. I'm trying to work that out. So we'll get that done. All right. Well, as they say in school, see you next Tuesday. Love you to bits. Stay healthy. Stay well. And mostly stay